The most beautiful thing in the USA is its nature. National parks are America's true pride. If you've been to the States but haven't seen them, you haven't seen nearly everything. I've been to the USA several times. I study there. I've traveled around the country as a tourist, and I prepared for you my personal top list of the most beautiful and coolest national parks in the USA. In my personal opinion, there are 63 of them in total, but visiting them all is very difficult. That's why you have to pick the very best. These are the 15 best parks in the USA, and among them, there are some you've probably never heard of. 15th place, Valley of Fire, Nevada. When you get there, it feels like the rocks you see are bright red, as if they're frozen tons of flame. It's a state park, not a national park. It's one of the oldest in Nevada. It's 90 years old. There's a lot of interesting things there. For example, there are Native American petroglyphs that are 2,000 years old or more. These are little pictures carved into the rocks. It's hot there. You shouldn't go there in the summer, because the heat can reach up to 45 degrees. The landscapes there are almost alien, which is why many movies have been filmed there. Transformers was filmed there, and so was Star Trek. It's best to visit at sunrise or sunset. First of all, your photos will turn out better, and second, it won't be as hot. 14th place goes to Goblin Valley in the state of Utah. It's a very unusual place. It's a place that leaves an impression, because when you get there, you see a huge number of these sandy formations. Lots and lots of little figures. You find yourself inside, and they start to surround you. And it really feels, I caught myself thinking, that I'm in Tolkien's Moria, which has been taken over by goblins. Seriously, goblins. The park isn't very crowded, so when you're there, it's literally just you, alone with all this surrounding landscape. What else is characteristic of this park? Unlike many other American parks, there are no marked trails here. So you're not following a designated path from point A to point B, from one viewpoint to another. You have complete freedom to move wherever you want. Parks like Goblin Valley have very fragile figures, sandstone formations, and sandstone is a soft material. So over time, after a number of years, they gradually start to erode and break down. You have to make it in time to see all of this with your own eyes, not just in pictures. Because it really is a cool park, even though no one knows about it. No one writes about it. 13th place, Valley of the Gods, Utah. This is a place that is probably overshadowed by its more famous neighbors, but nevertheless, it's very interesting. Amidst a vast plain, there are these huge stone formations standing. These are the remnants of ancient mountains, and they resemble various figures. They even have their own nicknames. There's the old woman, the cowboy, the Mexican hat. But when you drive among them, when you realize how small you are compared to these enormous formations, you start to understand why. In fact, this place is called the Valley of the Gods. It's like huge ancient statues of gods, looking down at you from the heights of their pedestals. This is a free park. You don't have to pay to enter there. The roads there aren't very good. There's a gravel road winding between all these rocks. It's recommended to go there in an SUV, but we actually managed just fine and drove through in a Mustang. The road is straight. There's no rain. Everything is very dry. There aren't many tourists there. You won't encounter crowds. It's quite a secluded place and most beautiful at sunset. It's best to come here to end your day in this state. 12th place, Goosenecks, Utah. What is it? It's a canyon of the San Juan River, which twists at unimaginable angles. There's a viewpoint right above these bends, and you can see everything laid out before you like on the palm of your hand. You look down from above at this river winding at wild angles. And honestly, it's just incredibly beautiful. You also kind of feel like an eagle soaring above everything around you. Because even though you're standing on ground level, everything else is below you. And there's this feeling, I don't know, of a soaring bird that sees such a cool, wonderful landscape. The park isn't the most famous. There's not much infrastructure, and there are few tourists, which is a plus. It's best to come at sunset, but keep in mind that it's often very windy there. So be careful not to get blown into the river or the canyon itself. Don't confuse this place with another one, Horseshoe Bend. That's also a famous spot for photos. Also a bend in the river, but the Horseshoe is in Arizona, not Utah. And it's not a national park, just a beautiful spot you can visit once, take some photos, and move on. 11th place, Canyonlands, Utah. This is a park you could probably talk about for a long time. It's a huge area, the wildest and most inaccessible park in the entire American system. In fact, for regular tourists, only one part is accessible, called Island in the Sky. There, you'll find decent roads, and you can drive to the viewpoints and enjoy the scenery even without any special preparation. The other three parts are far removed from civilization. One of them, specifically called the Maze, is widely considered the most incredibly inaccessible place in the entire vast U.S. national park system. It was in this remote and challenging part of Canyonlands that, in 2003, a significant incident occurred when a tourist and experienced climber unfortunately got stuck in a narrow crevice under a large boulder. He spent 6 days there and was only able to escape by cutting off his own hand. This very event became the basis for the film 127 Hours. If you haven't seen it, I recommend watching it. But even what is accessible to an ordinary tourist is impressive. So you see this plane, you're on the upper level, and there's a lower level, like another plane beneath you, maybe a couple hundred meters down. And then further on, it's as if, I don't know, a gigantic footprint of a mega dinosaur pressed down on this land. There's even a third level below, and you can see all of this from above. The landscapes there are, well, fantastic. It's like Mars, just as it is. When I remember these places, I get a bit of goosebumps, because it's such an unusual place. You absolutely have to visit it. In this park, people take an iconic photo of a natural arch. It's called Mesa Arch. At sunrise, when the sun rises above the horizon and is kind of inside this arch. It's a very beautiful photograph. And of course, as an amateur photographer, I thought, why not go and take that photo myself? To do that, I had to get up at 4 in the morning and drive to the park. I thought I'd probably be there alone, take some pictures, get a great shot, and show it off on social media. When I arrived at the spot, I saw that about 30 photographers were already there. They had set up their tripods, professional cameras, and telephoto lenses. I somehow squeezed in with my own tripod. We sat and waited. Well, not really sat, more like stood. We stood and waited. The right moment came, clouds rolled in. There was no sunrise. Everyone sighed, packed their gear, and left. Some decided to wait for the next morning. As for me, I went through the park. 10th place, Zion, Utah. It's a great park, one of the best, one of the most famous American parks. You can't get there by car. You arrive, leave your car in the parking lot, and from there are only internal shuttles, buses. You find yourself in a valley. It's green, especially if you come in the spring. It's green, beautiful, and there's plenty of water. And all around are these huge, towering mountains, giant red mountains that seem to be watching you. There's one trail where you walk along the riverbed, ankle deep in water, and sometimes up to your knees. So it's better to be prepared. It's also a really unusual feeling, not just walking a regular hiking trail, but a water trail. One of the coolest places is a mountain that towers over the whole park, called Angel's Landing. You can climb up there. And of course, my wife and I decided to go up because it's the most famous spot in the whole park. So we keep climbing and climbing, and at some point, we saw that there's a section where you have to walk along the ridge, the mountain ridge. There's a drop on one side and a drop on the other, and the trail itself isn't that wide. In other words, if you make a few wrong steps, naturally, there are no railings at all, and you could fall off. And there are people coming toward you with backpacks on. So you have to squeeze past each other somehow, just to avoid falling off to one side or the other. We made it to that spot. My wife looked at it and said, "I'm scared, I'm afraid." And I said, "Okay, that's fine. Let's not go any further. We reached this point, so let's head back." Because when someone is afraid of heights, when they start to feel dizzy from the height, the body starts to react. It becomes dangerous. So we didn't go any further. We didn't make it all the way to the top of Angel's Landing, and we still regret it to this day. It's an unfinished business, a gestalt that remains open for us even now. 9th place, Bryce Canyon, Utah. It's an awesome place, a very beautiful park. You arrive at it from above, step out onto the edge, and before you opens up this vast amphitheater filled with stone columns. You look at this natural wonder and can't understand how nature could have created something like this. You can view it from different spots, drive along the edge of this giant amphitheater, stop here and there, and from slightly different angles, you'll see different views. That's why I recommend visiting several viewpoints at the top. And the most interesting part begins when you go down, because from above, yes, it's beautiful, but from below you're actually walking among these giant stone columns, literally through a stone forest. And you realize just how gigantic, how colossal they are compared to you, so small. Bryce Canyon is located at an altitude of about 2,700 meters, so some people might even start to experience mild symptoms of altitude sickness there. Fortunately, we didn't have that and didn't notice anything. Because it's up high, it's always cool there. So even in summer, when the rest of Utah is scorching hot, it's nice and cool in Bryce Canyon. And right here in Bryce Canyon is one of the best so-called sky parks in America, meaning places that are perfect for stargazing. They even hold star parties in Bryce Canyon, where lots of people are invited to come, look up at the sky, and admire its beauty. I don't know why, but the state of Utah is incredibly rich in beautiful places. There are more of those parks there than anywhere else, and they personally impressed me the most. The concentration of natural beauty is truly in Utah. I've traveled so much through national parks in the US and trekked through other wild places, hiking different trails in various countries, that I decided to record a separate video to sum up my experience and go over the mistakes I made while preparing for and during these hikes, so that you don't make the same mistakes. Check out the video in the description. 8th place goes to Arches, Utah. This is the park with the most natural arches. There are more than 2,000 of them here. It's the highest concentration of arches in the world. You drive between these arches, you look at them, and each one is different. Each has its own name. There's Landscape Arch, the longest in the world, at 93 meters. It's still a mystery how it manages to stay up. There's Delicate Arch, as it's called, or Kalbopants as its unofficial name. It's probably the most famous arch. It's the symbol of the state of Utah, and you can even see it on the state's license plates. The park is large, it's extensive. It's hot there, it's dry, there's no water. But thankfully, you can drive through it, not just walk. It's easy to get lost there. By the way, mountain lions live there too. They warn you about them on all the signs. That's why my wife picked up a stick, a club, and walked around with it to fight off those mountain lions. The arches are very fragile. They're falling apart. That's why this is the very park you need to visit as soon as possible. It's quite possible that in a year or two, some of these arches simply won't be there for you to see or find. Especially if there's an earthquake or something like that. 7th place goes to Niagara Falls, state of New York. It's a very famous place, and you've probably heard of it. It became a tourist mecca, attracting crowds of people, as far back as the 19th century. Everyone wanted to see this giant waterfall, which is also located not far from the largest cities on the East Coast. And this is the only park on the East Coast that I included in my list, simply because, in my opinion, all the most interesting natural attractions in America are in the West, not the East. This is a giant waterfall located right on the border between the US and Canada. The best views, of course, are from the Canadian side, but it's interesting from the US side as well. From the American side, you can get closer to the water. There are also several observation decks there. And of course, you should visit all of them. And absolutely make sure to go down, get on the boat, and ride right up to the very streams pouring down from above. Of course, you'll get wet, because there's a fine mist in the air that completely envelopes you, and within a minute you're soaked. Naturally, everyone is given raincoats there. And we still have one of those with the inscription Niagara Falls as a souvenir from that very place. 6th place, Antelope Canyon, Arizona. In fact, this is Navajo Native American territory. Antelope Canyon is a special place. When I saw photos from there, I always thought it was some kind of Photoshop, that something like that just couldn't exist in reality. But when I actually visited these canyons, there are actually 2 of them, Upper and Lower Antelope Canyon. When I found myself inside, I suddenly realized that photos don't actually capture the beauty, the ride of colors, the interplay of light and shadow that you see with your own eyes in this canyon. It's truly incredibly beautiful there. This is a place you definitely won't see or encounter anywhere else. It's something you can't miss if you're a traveler. Antelope Canyon is a slot canyon. Actually, it's 2 slot canyons. That is, they are located below ground level. From above, you wouldn't even realize there's a canyon there. There's just a very narrow crack, and most of it actually runs underground. It was discovered by accident. When some boy or a sheep fell in, people started to explore and saw how beautiful it was. This is Native American land. You can't just go there on your own. You can't go there with your own guide either. You have to come to the village, hire a Native American guide, and only then will they take you through these places. These are sacred places for the Navajo people. They consider these places sacred, so you need to behave carefully and treat everything you see with great respect. And by the way, these are dangerous canyons. Flash floods can happen in this area. Sometimes, rain can fall in another state, and then water rushes through these underground crevices in a massive torrent, sweeping away everything in its path. If someone is caught there, they can drown almost instantly. In fact, that's how the canyons were formed, when these underground streams of water flowed through the sandstone and polished the canyon walls. And the best time to visit is around noon, because that's when sunlight comes in, and it falls most beautifully on the canyon walls. Honestly, this place is amazing. It's a must-see and highly recommended. If you haven't been there, seriously, there are no words. The top 5 coolest national parks in the United States of America. Fifth place goes to Sequoia. Located in California, it's an extraordinary place, a place that truly sparks your imagination. When you're there, you can hardly believe your own eyes, because the trees are so huge, it's beyond anything you can imagine. And when you get close to one of these trees, you really feel it. Just imagine 83 meters tall. That's like a 20 or 25-story building. And that's just one tree. The diameter is 11 meters. You could literally hide in a single wrinkle of the tree's bark, and no one would notice you. No one would see you. The feeling is absolutely breathtaking. You're looking at the largest, most gigantic living beings left on our planet. This is one of the first national parks in the United States. It was established in 1890 to protect these rare, magnificent, giant trees from being cut down. There are many trails throughout the park, so you can walk for hours, enjoy yourself, and keep discovering new and different trees. But keep in mind that it's located in the mountains, so there's snow in the winter, and even in the spring there's still snow. And sometimes you can't drive through the mountain passes because they're closed. And also, there are bears living in this park, in this forest. Encounters with them are not that rare, so be careful. I have amazing ready-made routes and guides for different countries. Spain, Portugal, Europe, America, Africa, Asia. The USA will be available soon as well. Check them out on my website. Fourth place goes to Vermilion Cliffs National Monument, better known as the Wave, in Arizona. This is not just a park, not just a beautiful park, it's an iconic place. It's a giant stone wave that captures the imagination. The place is very fragile. It's a place that can't handle many tourists, yet there are a huge number of people who want to visit. Interest in visiting skyrocketed, especially after National Geographic wrote about it, and when a photo of this wave was added to the Windows screensavers. The demand far exceeded the restrictions set for visiting this place. So even now, to get in, you have to win a lottery. The lottery is held on site as well. You can come there, take part in the lottery, and if you win, you can go see the wave that very same day, or you can participate in advance, by email, remotely, or online. Several months in advance, 3 times as many permits are drawn as on site. And of course, it's worth trying your luck ahead of time. If you've already won, then you can go to the wave. I participated in this lottery on site 3 times. Unfortunately, I didn't win any of those 3 times. That's why this is the place I really like, a place I would love to see. It's just amazing, but I haven't been there. And now we've reached the top 3. Third place goes to Monument Valley in Arizona on Navajo land. I'm sure you've all seen this view. You probably know and remember this giant plateau, flat, straight, with these enormous 300-meter tall mountains, these monuments scattered across it. I don't even know what to call them. Some kind of pedestals, I guess. It's a famous place, a legendary place, a place that symbolizes America and especially the Wild West. A huge number of westerns have been filmed there since the 1930s. Even when we visited Monument Valley, 2 different movies were being filmed in 2 different places. Monument Valley is constantly featured in commercials. Just think of the Marlboro Cowboy, for example. It looks great from the road. There's a straight highway that practically cuts right through the valley. You can drive along it, and you'll soon see all these majestic views and enjoy them, but get off the road. There's a dirt road that winds between all these giant rock formations, and you can see them up close. But in general, the dirt road isn't very good. It's bumpy and has potholes, so a car with high clearance is recommended, or better yet, an SUV. But I managed to drive through in my Mustang. The area is managed by the Navajo Indians, so you have to pay an entrance fee directly to the Native Americans who run it. It's not part of the U.S. National Park System. The Navajo Nation is somewhat independent from the American government. It's a reservation, a Native American reservation within the United States. The second place is the Grand Canyon, Arizona. You've probably heard about this place, even if you've never been to the United States. The Grand Canyon is one of the most famous landmarks in the world, and it's well worth it. Just imagine, it's 446 kilometers long and almost 2 kilometers deep. That's 2 kilometers from the rim down to the Colorado River, which actually carved out this canyon. You can go down there, and we've done it. Bright Angel Trail. I still remember what it's called. The descent is very tough, or rather, the descent itself is actually very easy. You walk down feeling happy and content. In the cool of the morning, going down is really easy. But after noon, when you have to climb back up, Roman, the sun is beating down. You're basically on a scorching frying pan, and you have to climb up almost 2 kilometers. You don't actually walk 2 kilometers because the trail is longer, but you gain 2 kilometers in elevation. Probably the most physically demanding trek my wife and I have ever done in all our travels. If you don't go down, the Grand Canyon looks easy from above. The viewpoints are scattered all along the edge of the canyon. You can just drive up, walk a little, and enjoy all these views. The Grand Canyon looks easy from the car. You drive up, leave your car, walk a bit, and take in all this splendor. But that's all on the south rim. There's also the north rim, the northern edge of the canyon. You can drive all the way around it, this massive structure that's hundreds and hundreds of kilometers, and approach it from the north, but there are few roads there. The roads are bad, and there aren't as many viewpoints. But you get to walk around almost completely alone. Far fewer tourists make it out there. And if you want to enjoy all the beauty of the Grand Canyon without the crowds of tourists, then by all means, head to the North Rim. There are many places in the world you've heard about. You go there and end up disappointed. But with the Grand Canyon, it's a completely different story. You arrive, you step out onto the edge. And I swear, every person I've seen, I've watched them as they approach the edge of the Grand Canyon for the first time their mouth drops open. If you ever visit the Grand Canyon, take a moment to watch those who are seeing it for the first time. And in first place, the park that impressed and amazed me the most in the United States is, of course, Death Valley in California. It's the hottest, driest, and lowest place in North America. In the summer, temperatures there reach up to 56 degrees Celsius in the shade. We visited the park in early spring, but even then, it was 40 degrees Celsius there. Death Valley is incredibly diverse, the most fantastic park of them all. There are so many places there where you just arrive and are left in awe. Imagine arriving at a vast, dried-up lakebed, completely covered with a deeply cracked, incredibly hardened crust. And on the very surface of this desolate lake, right there on that rigid crust, there are numerous scattered stones with remarkably clear and distinct trails trailing behind them. These stones, in some mysterious way, have moved across the surface. There are many, many other fascinating things there. There are multicolored rocks, as if an artist had painted them, the artist's palette, as it's called. There are salt lakes there, where the salt has dried and formed perfectly even hexagons. There's also the so-called Devil's Golf Course, Roman. So this is a place where it's basically impossible to walk. The surface there, with all the salt and rocks, is such that you can take just a few steps and, I don't know, twist your ankle right away. Well, and it's ironically called the Devil's Golf Course because you can't even walk on it, let alone play golf. There are also magnificent dunes there, which look very majestic against the backdrop of the mountains. So it's that classic desert you've probably seen in many movies, because Los Angeles is nearby, and so is Hollywood. It's very easy to come to Death Valley and film there. Almost every desert you see in Hollywood movies was filmed right here in Death Valley, on those very dunes. And if I could visit only one park in the US, it would definitely be Death Valley. Check out other top travel destinations at the links in the description. There's a lot more cool and interesting stuff there. Get inspired and enjoy every moment of your journey.